What up, people? It's your boy Master Chudy out here with another comic review. First off, just want to really give a shout out to those who've been watching my Red Hood videos. Those seem to be very popular, especially with my latest one on the annual. You know, my highest viewed video and my most popular video, so I'm very touched by that. Thank you for that, and I'm gonna try to keep on putting out this content. Once again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications if you like all these videos. But first off, let's get with this Superman Rebirth issue number 30 of the minute longer storyline. Battle for Sinestro's Might. So first of all, we get into the cover. This is a badass cover. Just look at that. You know, you've got Superman in his yellow lantern gear looks pretty cool. And then you have Sinestro, and they're just fighting over who gets control of Parallax. I watched a couple of reviews on this on the previous issue, 29, and it led to a good story. And Parallax has gone and he was infecting children to lure Superman to take his body over to get away from Sinestro. And then Sinestro has arrived on Earth to reclaim Parallax, who he had imprisoned in the yellow battery to power his core, basically. But now he's escaped, and now Sinestro's back to claim what is his so he can repower the Sinestro core. So we move into this. It's another great intro picture. You just see Superman here with the outside of Parallax, and he's just telling that Sinestro that he controls Superman now. That like you controlled me, and that no matter how strong somebody's will of courage is, that fear will always seep through the cracks. So Parallax has gotten the upper hand on Sinestro. Sinestro is having trouble, of course, since Parallax has all the Kryptonian strength. So we have a moment longer part 2, Hopes and Fears. Hopes and Fears, yeah. So this is written by Keith Champagne. Art is done by Ed Benes, Tyler Kirkham, and Philip Tan. The cover was done by Doug Monk, Jamie Mendoza, and Will Quintana. And they did a very good job on this cover. So, and then apparently Jorge Jimenez did the variant cover, which I haven't seen. But, Jorge Jimenez is actually pretty good. So we move forward. And they continue. And then you just pretty much see Parallax just monologuing. Basically telling, like, I want you to feel terror to pay for your arrogance. It's like, I only see fear in your eyes. I'm now stronger than you, and I'm pretty gonna kill you. So he's just been monologuing for the whole page, but it's pretty good. Like, he takes him up in the air and he slams him back to where they met, outside of an abandoned school, or I think it was a Luthor facility. And then he just basically says, savor these final moments, the sweetness of your last breaths, as the blackness overtakes you, and as the light behind your eyes flicker into oblivion, you know that you were nothing compared to Parallax. So more monologuing, and then Sinestro is pretty much like, man, shut up, Parallax. You're even more insufferable than Jordan. And apparently, with his ring, he apparently teleports them to another planet. And we see that, Lord Sinestro, we have transported you and the creature as instructed. So actually, these people transported the both of them here. So we see Sinestro's like, you were late. Strike him down, fools. And then we see them prepare their weapons. But we see that Parallax and Superman's body's like, no, I won't be taken again. And, they just throw these lightning shards at Parallax Superman. And he's been weakened. And we first see that Sinestro's like, welcome back. As the Earth and say there's no place like home. And then they capture him and they bring him down below. So apparently he's in this ice cavern area. Held together by Sinestro's construct, I think. I almost thought this was Parallax at first, but I was like, no, it's not. So we see Sinestro looking at Superman saying, Parallax, I know you can hear me. I see you in there, buried in Superman's subconscious, hiding beneath the blankets of his most secret fears. And he basically just tells him that we're, thousands of miles down in the frozen heart of Quard, which is the planet they're on. No one's going to hear him or anything. So we see that Superman wakes up and sees Sinestro, then he tries to eye-beam him, which of course Sinestro deflects, saying that, it'd be wise to conserve your energy, because there's no yellow suns here, only the glow of fear. And he just keeps crushing Superman here, saying, "Easier to move a world from its orbit than to break my will. Struggling is futile, and you will need to accept it if we are to proceed." So we move forward, and we see that Superman is now fully conscious, and he asks Sinestro what he wants. And what Sinestro basically tells him is that he wants to take Parallax, exorcise him, and then put him back into the ring so he can rebuild his core to its former glory. And Superman tells him that it's gone. Basically, that Parallax is not here, which Sinestro doesn't believe, so he's going to exorcise him out. It's like you are determined not to show it, but there's great fear you're hiding behind your steely facade. I must expose these terrors, exorcise them if I'm to drive out Parallax. And then we see Superman's like, "Exorcise, Sinestro. You don't understand. What are you?" And he's asking, "What's he doing?" And then we see that Sinestro's about to bring out all of Superman's deepest fears. What does the Man of Steel fear? What scares the mighty Superman? And then we see this great splash page of each panel representing Superman's fears. We see that there in this panel there's destruction among Metropolis. He fears that he won't be strong enough to save the city. We see another panel right here of his son being bullied. He fears what his life will bring on to John. We see more people he's failing to save, that he was too late to save. We see in this panel that Lois is dying from cancer, which is something that he fears, losing Lois. You see more people fearing that he's too late, why he can't hear them. Then we see another panel of him where he apparently fears he's going to be like Doomsday, where he can't control his power, and he's fighting the Justice League, taking down Batman, Barry, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. And we just see everybody just saying, "Save us, save us, help us, help us." This is just, it breaks into Superman's main fears, that he fears his own power, he fears for his family, and he fears that he's not strong enough to save the day, which I think is, very good. It expands on it. And then we see another one where he's fighting his son, John. And he's like, "Son, what have you done? Your mother and I, this is not how your mother and I raised you." And it's like, "Raised me? You were too busy saving the world. You were never there for me. Do you see me now, Dad?" And, he's begging his son, like, "Please, you have to stop." And we see this is another fear, that he won't be there for his family. That John will eventually go down the wrong path because he wasn't there for him. So, the family aspect is, it's beautiful. Meanwhile, we see nothing has stopped. And then we see, like, what's that supposed to happen? What's supposed to happen now? Is Parallax supposed to, like, come crawling out of my nostrils? I told you, he doesn't live here anymore. And we see Sinestro start waving him, it's like, "Yes, it does." It's like, and we just see Sinestro telling him to, like, just give in to your fears, let go of whatever is sustaining you. And then we see Superman, refusing to yield, saying, "I believe in something far greater than fear, something you can never understand." And then we see, it's like, "Then I'll flail it from your soul." And then we see his subordinate right here, Lissa, asks him to, like, stop, that you should offer your ring to Parallax so that it's attracted to you, it's attracted to your power, and it won't refuse you. And then we see Lissa, like, saying, "Let your guard down, draw it into the open. In the book it is written that this is the way." And then we see Sinestro's like, "How disappointing. Parallax took you over so easily, Lissa Drac. We'll have to do something about that." And then we see he's about to, I think, he wants to torture her, basically. It's like, "How best to draw you out? Or perhaps I'll crush your bones to powder until you are nowhere left to go." And we just see her begging, like, "No, my lord." Then we see a lightning bolt strike Sinestro. Then we see that Parallax has taken over one of the people of Quard. And then, Sinestro's like, "Running is not going to save you." And then Parallax, like, "I'm part of every living thing, insect. You cannot stop me. You will not contain me ever again." And then we see just Sinestro's about to blast him, and then Superman uses his eye beams to deflect Sinestro, saying, "Enough, he's an innocent." And then this man realizes that you saved me from Sinestro. And then we see Superman saying, "You hurt these people over my dead body." So we see that Sinestro's like, all things in due time. but after Parallax is secured. And then you will do nothing. And so he's possessing all these different people and attacking Sinestro. To which Parallax leaves from a hole, and Sinestro gathers his enslaved core people to go after him. And then Lissa asks, "What about Superman?" And he's saying nothing. Well, he's of nothing. He has power of fate. He will die. He's like Hal Jordan, all the power to change the universe, but not the will to do it. Then, we see Superman's like, yeah, that's one point of view. Let's see what you're made of, Sinestro. It's like, your will against mine. So we see that Superman is desperately trying to break out. And then a couple hours apparently passed on the surface of Cord, and we see that Sinestro's trying his best to draw in Parallax, but he's failing. And you can see that he's pretty bruised up. And he's weakened, but then Superman catches him, and basically says, "You're still hurt from your last battle with Hal. You're not winning here, but you've given me a means to end this." So we see that Superman dares Parallax, "Okay, come on. You're terrifying, I'll give you that, but I've told you once before, I'm not afraid of you." It's like, do your worst. And this is like a great shot of Superman looking just very heroic. So Parallax takes him and eats him. Then we see that Superman is like, you don't seem to understand, Parallax. Maybe you can't, by the nature of what you are. Being afraid is part of being alive. Fear exists inside of all of us. I can't deny there's a little piece of you in everything. But people will always find a way to surprise you. There is so much more than terror in our hearts. There's also joy, love, and hope. So we see that Superman uses Sinestro's ring. And this was a great speech by the Man of Steel. It's like, a single shred of hope can hold all the fear in the universe at bay, and mine gives me the will to capture you. So basically he uses his will of hope to manage to overcome the ring of fear to capture Parallax, which is pretty ironically cool. It's like, I know you're scared right now, Parallax, but you'll be safe inside this ring. I promise I won't let Sinestro use you again. So he's sucking in Parallax. Said he's going to take him to Hal Jordan on Mogo. Said the Green Lanterns are best equipped to care for you there. You'll be safe. So after everything that has happened, we see Sinestro still badly wounded. And he's like, "My ring, Lissa Drac, where?" And she's like saying, "We'll find it, my lord, we'll find it." Then we see that Superman's like, "Lose something." And then he says, "Return it immediately. And you will leave Quard alive. I won't ask again." It's like, "I like to see you take it." And then we see that the people of Quard are now against Sinestro. They finally realize that he is the bad guy. Well, he was the bad guy, but they now have the courage to stand up to him with Superman. And we see Superman charging up, and he's like, "If I were you, I'd think very carefully about your next move." It's like, you will come to fear the enemy you've made today, Kryptonian. It's like, Lissa Drask, let us apart. And so they leave, basically. And Superman is like, "Whatever helps you sleep at night." Classic Bird. Meanwhile, we see that Superman is like telling them, "From what I gathered, you were bullied into serving Sinestro, and that's a far cry from the first warriors I've known the legendary weaponers of Cord to be. You just saw with your own eyes that Sinestro turned tail and run away." And then he's like, "Maybe it's time to ask yourselves, what have you been afraid of all this time? It's never too late to better your situation, to become more than what you've been. All it takes is a choice. You, Weaponer, the one I kept from vaporizing down below." And we're saying me? It's like, "Those thunderbolts in your quiver, it's my understanding they serve two functions. You can either use them as a weapon or as a means of transportation." It's like, among other things. It's like, "Then take one out of its quiver and hit me with it. Full force, right in the chest. But before you do, think about what I've said. The life you lead is the life you choose. I hope you'll make the right choice." Bam. This is Superman. They're getting Superman right in this book. Then we see bedtime, John here. We just see that Superman just wants to look at his son, and Lois is like saying, "Tough day at the office." It's like, you don't know the half of it. And we see that Lois mentions that she heard on the news that all the kids that were kidnapped by Parallax have been returned to their families. And we see, like, "Thanks for helping them. How about I heat up some pie and you can tell me about it? I'll meet you in the living room, Lois." It's like, right now, it just feels good to stand here and breathe. And then the next issue is Apocalypse Now. Wow. I might start getting into the Superman Rebirth title. I mean, this was a good story right here, a good wrap up to a very short little story right here between Superman and Sinestro. We see that Superman not only sees his fears, knows his fears, and accepts his fears, but he conquers them with his will and his hope for a better life, and that people can change and that people are better than their fears. It's a great book. It's a solid story. Gives a good understanding of the character of Superman, and I'm definitely happy that I purchased this book. So, once again, thank you for watching this video with me. I once again do these reviews for you, the people, because I want to just give up my views on these comics and listen to what you have to say. I appreciate the views you've given me on past videos, and I promise to do better with each video I get. I got more videos, more comics in the pipeline. Whoop! Got Astonishing X-Men 3, Darth Vader, and the latest Nightwing. So, I hope to get more out tomorrow. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notifications. And I will see you later.